Hi, Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Risings. Welcome to your August 2022 horoscope. My name is Cailin, and today I'm going to be covering the major transits for the month ahead using tropical astrology and the whole sign system. You can watch this horoscope if you are a Sagittarius, rising, sun, or moon. If you're only going to watch one horoscope for the month, I recommend that you stick to your ascendant sign horoscope, also known as your rising sign, and that is because, generally speaking, the ascendant sign horoscope will be the most accurate for you overall. Having said that, if you are a Sagittarius sun, you will find that this horoscope relates more to your career, your professional image, public image, as well as your life goals. Whereas if you are a Sagittarius moon, you will find that this horoscope relates to you on an emotional level and with respect to family matters, relationships, and also your emotional needs. And now let's get into the horoscope. On the 1st or 2nd of August, depending where you live in the world, Mars is going to form a conjunction with Uranus at 18 degrees in Taurus in your 6th house. Now, Mars was in a conjunction with Uranus in the North Node at the end of July on the 31st, but Mars was at 17 degrees, whereas the North Node and Uranus were exact at 18 degrees. So now, around the 1st or 2nd of August, Mars is catching up to Uranus. So this will be a continuation of that. If you have not watched my July horoscope with regard to the Uranus North Node and Mars conjunction, I strongly recommend that you do so because I went into explicit detail at length as to how that conjunction will impact you over the course of the next 15 years. Nevertheless, with Mars and Uranus being conjunct in your 6th house, this can see you focusing on any sort of changes that you want to make to your routine, any habits that you want to have, form or get rid of, changes to health, and also the 6th house is connected to work, as well as your daily duties and responsibilities. So, on the health front, and with regard to your routines and habits that you may want to form or get rid of, this can see you abruptly cutting out bad habits. Okay, you'll be able to basically go cold turkey, if you wish, on certain vices or things that you may be addicted to. And on a different note, let's just say that you maybe have a gambling habit, especially with Mars ruling over your 5th house. This could see you being able to overcome that addiction. And, Mars and Uranus carry the energy of making a change really quickly. Okay, so on one hand, you could be cutting something out of your life because, Mars represents weapons and sharp objects. So, in a literal sense, you can cut things out of your daily habits and routines. Nevertheless, because this is a conjunction we're talking about, this can represent the birth of something new or the beginning of something new. So you can form a new habit if you wish. So make sure that you're using the first few days of August to really address what sort of habits you want to implement into your life and what sort of routines you want to carry with you. Now, with Mars ruling over your 12th house, this can indicate that you are ceasing to exhibit self-sabotaging behavior. And also, this conjunction can represent you having a sudden download of information. So maybe you just have this sudden awareness or conscious understanding of why you have certain health issues. These can be physical, mental, emotional, and, this can see you knowing what to do and knowing how to take action, knowing what that next step is, because Mars represents taking action and it is also connected to forming a strategy and carrying out a strategy. So, on that note, the 6th house is connected to problems, conflicts, and things being out of balance. So, when we have a very assertive planet like Mars in the 6th house, this represents one's ability to tackle these conflictual situations and to meet them head on. Okay, anything that you have been avoiding dealing with, whether that is confronting someone, dealing with some sort of conflict in your life, dealing with some sort of imbalance, whether that is related to your health, your routines, or even just, toxic uh, and a toxic atmosphere in the workplace. This can see you knowing how to basically overcome it or avoid it or confront it. Okay, so when I say avoid, I mean not getting sucked into other people's problems and not getting sucked into other people's dramas. So that would be healthy avoidance rather than getting caught up in other people's web. And I'm mentioning that because Uranus rules over your third house, which represents friendships, co-workers, siblings, and relatives. So for some of you, this can indicate redressing any kind of imbalance that exists within a friendship, within a relationship with your coworker, or with your siblings or relatives, or maybe even just people in your neighborhood and in your local community. So, on a different note, this can see some of you making a very abrupt and out of the blue decision with respect to your work. So, on one hand, you could be quitting a job, you could be retiring altogether, or you could be starting your own business, especially because Mars rules over your fifth house, which is connected to starting your own business. Now, maybe some of you are taking a hobby or a passion that you have and turning that into a business. That's another way that this could play out. And lastly, with this transit, the sixth house is connected to conflicts, as I mentioned, as well as legal proceedings, lawyers, and litigation. So some of you may decide that you want to bring a legal case against another person, or you may be simply seeking out legal advice, or perhaps you receive information from, let's say, your lawyer or your attorney, which requires you to do something really shocking. Okay, so this could be a shocking decision or move that they are advising you to take. Now, on the 4th of August, Mercury is going to enter the sign of Virgo, which means it will be transiting your 10th house. Normally, I don't mention Mercury transits because they are so quick. They only last for 3 weeks. So, yes, Mercury will be in your 10th house for 3 weeks until the 25th of August. Nevertheless, I'm mentioning it because Virgo is very strongly placed in Virgo. It is exalted in Virgo, and it also rules over the sign of Virgo. So, on a professional front and with respect to your career, because the 10th house represents your career and your public self and professional image, this can see you signing a new contract, because Mercury rules over contracts and it also rules over your 7th house. And the 7th house is connected to contracts and business and negotiations. Some of you may be negotiating a contract with your employer or with a client. So maybe you're signing a new deal. There could be more paperwork or documentation that is required of you by your workplace for one reason or another. And if you are looking to be employed, this is an excellent time for you to hand out your resume. Okay, so on that note, the 10th house rules over bosses, upper level management, and someone who's in the highest position of leadership possible. So I would recommend that you go to the top dog, as they say, and it's 11:11 right now on the clock as I'm saying this. So you can actually cut out the middleman. You can, go around HR, which is human resources, or the front desk, or maybe you'll want to meet this person in person rather than applying online. And look, if you are going to reach out to this person, you can do so online, but I would email them directly. And just to share a little personal anecdote with you, There was a time about 7 years ago when I was applying for my first job in real estate, and I was told to contact the manager directly. So I rocked up to the reception and I asked for this person by name, and he wasn't in, but the director and the founder, so basically the CEO of that company, happened to be there, and they overheard me asking to speak to this person. And this director shook hands with me. We, introduced ourselves, and he took me into his office, and we had an impromptu interview, just literally by me walking in and being in the right place at the right time. So you never know what could happen, but I would really strongly recommend that you approach the person who's in the highest position, whose details that you have, and take it from there. Now, on a different level, Mercury rules over communications, and the 10th house represents the most visible part of your chart. So it's the very top of your chart, okay? This can see you being required to communicate with your boss or with management. And this is a great time to open the lines of communication, especially if there is a delicate topic that you want to discuss, or if you've just been waiting for the right moment and biding your time to talk to someone about something that's important to you. Doing so between the 4th of August and the 25th of August could yield very good results for you, for want of a better term. On the downside, anything that you say publicly, anything that you say in the workplace, anything that you say online, anything that you have written could be up for people taking notes, maybe recording you, tracking what you've said. And, just be careful with what you're saying at this time, because what you say could be used against you. But the positive manifestation of this is that if you have a message to spread, people will be listening. Now, lastly, with this transit, it is also, I just want to say, with talking about giving a speech, you don't have to be employed. This can be you having a cause that you espouse, or having beliefs that you want to share, or a special message that you want to get out to the world. Now, this is a great time for rebranding and for consulting with a branding specialist or a marketing specialist. You may be brainstorming business ideas, and you can definitely use anything that you have written or created, whether that's an article or an essay, or even like video content, to elevate your reputation. So you have a lot of control over how you want to be perceived. And again, that is in and out of the workplace. The 10th house represents your status and your reputation, career aside. So on the 11th of August, Venus is going to enter the sign of Leo, which means it will be transiting your 9th house, and it will be there until the 5th of September. Wherever Venus goes, whatever Venus is doing, we can enjoy the area that house rules over, and things can come easily to us. So the 9th house is connected to travel and adventure, and also education. So you could be enjoying going on some sort of adventure, or you could be enjoying your travels. This is a great time to visit galleries and exhibitions and museums, and basically enjoy any kind of education about Venus related topics. So this would be anything artistic, anything connected to dance, anything that is connected to the five senses as well. And on a different note, Venus rules over relationships, and it also rules over your 11th house. So this can see you receiving an introduction to a very influential person, and this person could somehow benefit your work, given that Venus rules over your 6th house, which is Taurus, or this could expand your network further. Now, you could be making a new friend, or you could enter into some sort of romantic dalliance. So you could be having a fling. Now, this would specifically be either while you are traveling overseas or while you are at some sort of facility for learning, so at a college or a university. This person could be of a very different cultural background to you or a different nationality, and you could even meet them at some sort of sacred place, whether that's a temple or a church, or even at like a courthouse, because the ninth house rules over courthouses. So lastly, you could just be enjoying learning something new, or you could be learning about other cultures as well. Now, on the 18th of August, Venus in Leo in your ninth house is going to trine Jupiter in Aries at 8 degrees in your fifth house, and it will be retrograde. So, trines are very positive aspects in astrology. We love to see them. And Venus and Jupiter are both considered to be what is called benefic planets in astrology. Venus is the lesser benefic, Jupiter is the greater benefic, and both are related to wealth, prosperity, abundance, and good fortune. So when the two come together in a trine, which is a very harmonious aspect, it brings blessings and great results. So, in that way, we're combining the ninth house, where Jupiter is retrograde in Aries, and the fifth house, where we've got Venus in Leo. This can relate to children. All right. So, some of you may be falling pregnant around this time. It's definitely a great day to try if you're, wanting to conceive or expand your family. Now, you could be starting a family for the first time or expanding your family. And for those of you who have children already, you could have a big breakthrough in your relationship with your child. Maybe something finally clicks into place where you're able to understand your child as a person and get along with them better. And it really doesn't matter what age they are. You can apply what I'm saying to your own personal situation with your children. Some of you may be going on a trip with your child or some sort of adventure. You could be going on a vacation together. You could be learning something new together, or you could be engaging in something creative, something that you're both passionate about. And on a different note, you may be coming across advice on how to parent your child, and this could totally change your perspective on parenting as it is for the better. Now, lastly, on the children front, your child could enter into a new relationship, which brings them a lot of joy and happiness. Your child may be starting a new business, or they could experience success in their business, or they could simply happen across a new hobby or something that they're passionate about, or perhaps something fortunate and lucky happens to your child, or maybe you just notice that they're a lot happier around this period of time. Now, this certainly can indicate that some of you will start dating again. So you may be entering into a new relationship, and this individual could be of a different cultural background to you or a different nationality. And the same thing that I said before applies here. You could meet them while you're traveling or on some kind of adventure. You could meet them at a college or while you're at university, and so on and so forth. Now, for those of you who are not dating, not looking to date, and don't have children, and who are not looking to have children, this transit is really positive for you with respect to your hobbies and passions and your creative projects. And also, the fifth house is associated with owning your own business and authorship. So, some of you could be having some sort of exciting idea for a book that you want to write. You could get in touch with someone who is either in the publishing industry, or they can make an introduction for you to someone who is in the publishing industry, and that is represented by the ninth house. On a different note, for those of you who have your own business, this can see you taking your business to an international level. Maybe you're going to be importing and exporting your goods. Maybe you're going to be reaching a wider audience. Maybe you're going to be cracking into a market which is in a different country to your own. And also, an exciting travel opportunity could arise out of the blue. And also, you could just start a new creative project. And given that Jupiter is retrograde, this could be something that you've wanted to do for a long time. Maybe you're starting a new business. And on a different note, this is just a day for experiencing joy and happiness and just feeling really good. So put it in your calendars for, a nice little treat yourself moment. Now, on the 20th of August, Mars is going to enter the sign of Gemini, which means it will be transiting your seventh house. This transit is a really big deal, and that is because instead of Mars spending just 7 weeks in your seventh house, as it normally would, Mars only has a 7-ish week cycle through one sign. Mars will actually spend 7 months in your seventh house. So that is because Mars will have a retrograde cycle, which will take place at the end of October through to the middle of January. So, whatever you initiate between the 20th of August and the end of October, you will then be working on it from the end of October through till mid Jan. So, this can see you on a business front starting up a new business partnership with another person. There can be this really big push for you to gain or take on new clients and expand your clientele list. You might be looking to sign a new contract or enter into a new agreement or arrangement in a business related sense. And also, Mars can represent cutting something out of our lives. So, if you're not forming a new partnership, you may be trying to sever ties with your business partner, or you may be culling your clientele list. Maybe you only want to work with um, the top percentage in your industry, whatever that means for you. Or maybe you're going to be culling your services or looking at offering new services in the form of consulting. Now, this will span 7 months. So I just want to reiterate, whatever you're starting around the end of August, you may not see the results of this until, if not the middle of January in 2023, maybe even the end of March in 2023, when Mars finally leaves Gemini. On a romantic level, you could be pursuing an exclusive and committed relationship with another person. So you could be taking your relationship to the next level. Maybe you're proposing to your partner, or you could be trying to, um, you know, backpedal out of this relationship. Maybe you're trying to end it, or maybe you're trying to resolve some very difficult issues within your marriage or within your romantic relationship. And also, on a different note, you and your significant other or your spouse could be starting a new business together. You could be working on something together, which takes a lot of your effort. Or perhaps on an independent level, your partner could be going on some sort of weight loss journey, or they could be undergoing some sort of extreme physical transformation. And I'm not going to lie, this could be a stressful time for your partner, or they could just be really, really busy over the next 7 months. Certainly doesn't need to be negative. And lastly, with this transit, the seventh house is connected to one relationships. So maybe you are, um, you know, refining your personal relationships with other people, or you could be engaging the services of some kind of consultant. And this could be something Mars related, which is connected to sports. So it could be with a personal trainer, or perhaps you are going to be the one who is offering some level of one-to-one training, which is connected to owning your own business, especially because Mars rules over your fifth house. Well, thank you. Thank you, Sonia. Thank you so much for your donation. I really appreciate it. Okay, let's move on to the last transit for the month. On the 24th of August, Uranus is going to station retrograde in the sign of Taurus in your sixth house at 18 degrees. And Uranus rules over your third house. So somehow we're going to be tying in your daily duties and responsibilities to your communications with other people and your friendships and relationships with siblings and relatives. That's just like a blanket statement. With Uranus stationing retrograde in your sixth house, it'll be retrograde until the end of January in 2023. And Uranus spends about 5.5 months retrograde every year. Now, because this 18th degree is being activated once again, and the first time being the Uranus North Node and Mars conjunction, and then again with the Mars and Uranus conjunction, you will be revisiting or readdressing whatever was coming up for you around that time. So, around the beginning of the month, maybe you're going to be looking at how you can implement these new changes to your habits and to your daily routines. Maybe you're going to be looking at how you can exit certain relationships, whether these are friendships or your connection to certain relatives and family members. On a different note, this can see you trying to change your work situation, because the sixth house is connected to work. So it's really about you taking the sudden download of information that you had at the beginning of the month or at the end of July, and now you're trying to implement that. Now you're trying to liberate yourself from toxic relationships or situations. Now you're trying to reverse some sort of health issue that you've been experiencing. And you certainly can have a lot of success in this department. And so, Sagittarius, that's all I have for you for August 2022. If you enjoyed this horoscope, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more content on this channel, please hit the subscribe button. Enjoy your month ahead, Sagittarius, and I will see you in September.